What's up YouTube? Welcome to today's video. I know it's been a while because I have been playing the Endless Delirium race, the most fun event of all time. Not really, but as you can see here, I finally got my hands on the Ruthless Alpha, and this mode has been an interesting experience. I do think I kind of cheapened my own experience by playing the most overpowered build known to mankind in Ruthless. I'm going to go over what that is. If you don't already know, you can kind of look at the stream and be able to tell it is Cold Dot. And we're going to go over why it's so OP. We're going to go over what my thoughts are about on Ruthless. And as you can see here, the mode doesn't really look that hard. And my original video for this mode was, this mode is not hard, it's tedious. But in a weird way, it is kind of fun because it's a little bit different than what you're used to. Now, I do think that Chris probably over-exaggerated a little bit when he said it was going to be a massive achievement to reach the campaign or finish the campaign, because it's not really that much of an achievement. I'm pretty sure a good player could probably finish it in like 6 to 7 hours or so. And as you can see here, these bosses pretty much melt, but this is by far, I think, the most overpowered build. I also think Righteous Fire is pretty good, but as you can see here, everything is chilled, everything is good. I'm not even using Frostbite right now because I have no gem links, but this is just some what's it called, some ruthless little action for you. Now, I haven't made it to maps yet. My character just pretty much got to Act 4, so let's go see how Dominus looks. Dominus actually kind of took a little bit of a while just because I couldn't stand next to him. Without a movement skill, you kind of always have to watch out for what he does to slam. Look at that, walking away so close, right on the edge of death. And here's the last form, the Husk form, and I'm pretty much just running around in circle. And you put down Cold Snap. I don't have clarity on at the moment, but pretty easy fight. Cold Snap, or not Cold Snap, Frostball, Creeping Frost, and Vortex. So basically, what do I actually think about Ruthless mode? These are my two characters on SSF Ruthless and SSF Hardcore. I haven't really made it that far yet. So Ruthless is a separate character creation tag that significantly increases the difficulty and changes the playstyle of the game of extreme item scarcity and other changes. If you want to make me sum up what I actually think Ruthless feels like, you would just have to say no support gems and no movement skills. And those are probably the two biggest changes, and the item scarcity, of course. Now, this mode will launch with the release of 3.20, and it was originally designed as a pet project of Chris Wilson's and other developers over 18 long months. And alpha was released for streamers, or I don't know, anyone could actually try it out. So these are kind of the ladders for SSF Hardcore and SSF. So on the left side, you can see on SSF, you can see there's a lot of occultists, elementalists, occultists. Now, the reason being that why there's so many of them is because they are all playing Cold Dot. I'm not really sure what the Ascendants are playing, but here you can see Inquisitors. So it's probably like Righteous Fire or something. And then Champion, I did see Ventura was playing some Shattering Steel Champion build or Helix build. And then you see a lot more Occultists, Necromancers, maybe SRS, and there's some more Occultists for Cold Dot. So you can see here, Occultist is a very, very strong build. Now, why is that so? It's because Cold Dot is by far probably the most overpowered build for Ruthless. Now, the reason behind that is that support gems in this game mode are supposed to be scarce and valuable. So what that means is whenever you do a skill point quest, you don't actually get your support gem. Now, the only way to actually get a gem deterministically is you finish the library quest, and you get this token called Uncarved Gemstone that you can turn in for any active skill in the game. So if you notice this, there's no support gems that you can buy, and they're only active skill gems. But this means that we're able to buy Vortex from the vendor, and for Cold Dot, on which you actually get every single gem you need for the quest reward. And this is actually just absolutely huge. Now, builds need to be designed around the quest rewards you get, and you only have this active skill gem. So Cold Dot, you get Vortex, you get Creeping Frost, you get Cold Snap, you get Frostball, and you also get Clarity. Now, this skill really also shines because Cold Dot, as you may know, is a build that requires almost no gem links and gear at all to finish all of the game. And this is pretty much because you use so many different skills, and it's pretty much the combined dot damage of all of these skills. So you can see here, Creeping Frost does a certain amount of cold damage per second. And then you have Frost Bomb, which lowers their res. And then you have Cold Snap, which deals more cold damage per second. Then you have Vortex, which deals more cold damage per second. So you're pretty much stacking all of these damage per second over time on a 1-link skill, and it's pretty much a combine of like a 3 or 4-link skill. So just to show you what this playstyle literally looks like, so where am I even in the game? So let's progress the campaign a little bit. And I'll show you my gear a little bit later on, since you guys might be wondering how bad are your items since you're playing this mode. But for anyone wondering, why do I have all my mana unreserved? Because you actually don't get any percent reservation gems, so you don't get determination or grace because those make the game too easy. So what that means is that you actually pick up mind over matter, so you have a lot more effective HP pool. If you see, I have 972 life, which at this stage of the game is kind of a lot. So for this build, you pretty much just run and everything dies behind you. And for the rares, they are, you just put down Frost Bomb. So let's see, Frost Bomb, Creeping Frost, and then Cold Snap. Everything dies. So the build does some insane amount of damage for having no links. And as you may notice, every single thing that drops is pretty much a white item. It's pretty rare to actually see a rare item or magic item at all. So, but you can see the mode is like pretty chill. But it's a lot slower pace without the spammable movement skill. And you actually don't need an item filter at all. That's pretty nice. But how bad are my items? Are items scarce? And surprisingly, I actually found my items to be pretty good. I found a decent amount of rares out there, nowhere near as common as the base game, but most of my items have HP, and I have more life in this normal game, and I never even farmed the zones that much. See here, my character's level is 33, and I'm actually under level for the zones, so I'm pretty much just progressing the campaign normally. So if you look at my items, I actually found this on the ground. I ID'd it. And you kind of want to ID all your items so you can sell it to the vendor and then you can get transmutes. So the vendors are a little bit different. You'll see that it looks like this. And then you could trade in currency. You could buy, so you want to vendor all the blues or rares you find. And then you could get transmute shards and you trade the transmutes for augments and the augments for alts. But if you see my gear, I have this thing. It's actually very, very good. Lightning damage to spells and cast speed. And I have this item. It dropped from Merval. It's a life double res helm. And then I got this for the quest reward in Act 3. I found a shield. And now it doesn't have a all. Oh, I actually have a transmute. So maybe I could transmute the shield. Should I transmute the shield? It's my only transmute though. What am I going to get? Let's see. Is this going to be good? Oh, maybe I could use some armor scraps. Oh man, this is pretty exciting right here. Oh. Really? Oh, wait, that's... I mean, like, whatever, man. I saved so long for that transmute. I guess it's gone. But next up, we have a diamond rare ring, actually. I found this from Dominus. And then I have this thing, a gold ring. So it's maybe some Magic Fight Coley action. And then this item here is armor evasion. Nothing special about it. This gloves has life on it. I don't really know why I have so many items with life. So this is another item of life, 58 life. I could replace this one once I level up to 35. A belt. I think I got this from the Den quest rewards, so not too good. More thorns. And then I have a pair of boots with life and cold res, my best piece of gear. But here is the crown jewel, and I can't wait to put this on. Look at this. Tri-res rare chest, and I have another life double res chest piece. So you can say I'm pretty much an owner. So a lot of people wonder how do you actually get defenses in this. You can see armor and evasion is pretty important, so I would always use an armor or evasion chest. So you can see here you go for 46% physical damage reduction, 22% evasion, all the way down to 2% evasion. So even though this thing has more res, this will make you feel tankier, at least in the campaign. So here we also have another item. Look at this, a life resist accuracy and intelligence rare. I don't really know if I'm just lucky or not, but it seems like my items I got overall were pretty good and kind of overpowered. And you can see here I have fully capped res pretty much. And for resist, you pretty much want to take it all on the tree. You can see you have resist here, resist, 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 more resist here, more resist here, and then you get resist here for the elemental mastery. So you can pretty much cap your character's resist out with the passive tree. Now, it does seem like I'm going the path of least resistance because I'm choosing the most OP build and also using a really OP tree, and I also got lucky on my gear. Now, is this mode hard? The game really feels way too easy when Chris said that the players will feel accomplished for finishing the campaign. And I don't think finishing the campaign will feel that accomplished. Now, if you actually look at the alpha test Discord, you'll see that a lot of players who aren't even like super well versed in the game finish the campaign off, and it's literally just a little bit longer, especially since you don't have a movement skill. If I had to say why does the game feel so much slower, it's pretty much because you do less damage because you have no support gems. And your gems also level up slower. So if you can see right here, my gems are still level 28 even though I'm 33. And you can see Frostbomb is actually 24. And Cold Snap is still 24. So you do a lot less damage. And you also don't have a movement skill. And it's hard to get movement speed on boots. So those things combined is probably the net difference on why the campaign is so much slower. Now, I do think that breaking the game a little bit easier for myself by playing an OP build. You could probably get the same experience if you got Spectral Helix or something, or you played Righteous Fire, Fire Trap. Now, something they could do to make the mode feel a lot harder is removing instant logout. I do know the game is balanced around instant logout, but instant logout does save you a lot. So maybe that's something they could explore. And no movement skill pretty much just means that your real movement skill is your Quicksilver Flask. So when you're in trouble, you just need to pop your Quicksilver Flask. And that's pretty much your movement skill. So make sure to get more Quicksilver Flask. Or wait, I don't even have a personal hideout. Okay, that stuff is whack. I guess it's a completely different version of the game. So overall, what do I actually think about this mode? And do I think it has any staying power? I do think the mode is pretty fun to try out. It's a fun, novel experience. However, I'm not really sure how much I would actually play it in the long run. And I definitely would not play this at League launch over the base game. And the current end game does revolve around doing white and yellow maps over and over again as the map drops are too scarce. If you actually look at the alpha Discord, they are looking around at changing the map sustain, because they want it so that white maps are super easy to sustain, yellow maps are not that easy, and red maps are really hard to sustain. And that's their design philosophy for Ruthless. Now, if you don't have the alpha and you wanted to try out this game mode, you can pretty much do it if you got all white items, you have no support gems, only quest rewards, and no movement skills, and you can pretty much have a one-to-one Ruthless experience. Maybe you can reward yourself with having one rare item every 2 acts and just use an alch that you find or transmute. And that would get you pretty close to the real experience. Now, should the game mode be harder and have it be a real achievement to reach maps? Now, the reason why this game mode is so easy compared to like the Gauntlet or Delirium Everywhere is pretty much because there's no mods on the side. If they made it so there's onslaught or there's extra damage, the game mode would feel very, very difficult. But currently, the campaign is pretty much just a tedious experience, not really that much harder. And the biggest issue also, personally for me, is the muley is a huge issue. Now, what do you mean by muley? Well, muley means that you have to go do... So let me bring up this thing right here. So right now, you get a certain amount of quest rewards that you get, and this person literally made it so that you could look at what you get. So this means the optimal way of playing the game is to make a different character, get all of the quest gems, and then go to your main character. So if you're leveling Cold Dot and you wanted a smooth leveling experience, you would level up Templar so you could get Holy Flame Totem, and then you could get Vitality, and lastly you could get Wintertide Brand, which helps out a lot. So this creates the experience where you have to make a lot of different characters to get all of the active skill gems you need, and it's kind of like an artificial difficulty. And it's kind of not fun if you don't like making a lot of characters. Personally, for me, I didn't mule at all, so I pretty much had to level with Cold Snap and Frostbomb all the way till the library quest. Now, lastly, there is no Uber Lab in this game mode, and I feel like this is something they should definitely change, because the build diversity will be very limited in Ruthless, and I do think having only 6 ascendancy points will just narrow the gap even further. So certain builds will really, really stand out. And this brings to the question, should there be separate skill balance? Probably not, because they don't even do separate skill balance or any skill balance in the real game. So if they actually do separate skill balance for Ruthless, that would be a very, very bad look. Now, overall, I do think that everyone should try it out if you have the alpha, because it does change the way you play the game. And I do think that PoE is really lacking something new or a new, fresh gameplay experience that I do think PoE 2 and hopefully 3.20 will deliver. But thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know down in the comments below if you've tried out Ruthless and what you actually think about it, and if you think I should personally continue the campaign and make a pretty much a mini-series until Dragonflight comes out about my character's progression in the hardest mode in PoE. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more mirrors or transmutes and alks than me, and see you next time. Bye!